What's going on? It's your boy Rakage Omega. I'm back with another video. Today I'm covering the top 8 people that I want to see if they do crossovers. So in the last video I mentioned Wolverine and mentioned the potential of possibly introducing mutants or X-Men. I saw something today saying there's an Inhuman in a wheelchair. I haven't done much research on if it's an existing character or if it's somebody that they're freshly putting in and they've created for this game. But if they do Inhumans, Black Bolt and Medusa would obviously be super dope. But this is my personal list. These are people I would love to see. So number 1, we have Storm. I said Black Panther in the last one. I would love to see Storm. Not only is Storm super, super dope, the things she would be able to do would almost overshadow Thor. And I think she would be a great addition. She's the leader of the X-Men, depending on what time you're reading. And I think it would be super dope to have her in here. Speaking of leader of the X-Men, Cyclops is a must. I almost feel like you can't do X-Men without Wolverine and Cyclops. I really feel like it's impossible, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think Cyclops, with all his horribly corny lines that he would probably say, would be super dope. His power set would be also pretty cool and pretty unique to the game. I know it's a bunch of beams, but kind of similar to the way Marvel Ultimate Alliance did it, where his beams are bouncing off of walls and stuff. I think that would be really cool. Number 3, I have Gambit. Gambit is as a Southern boy, Gambit is my favorite. I legit think Gambit's swag is just something that is really uncomparable. Plus, on top of that, I think his powers would lend some really cool gameplay. He can do a lot of things, and depending on how deep you go into his narrative, if you're adding story for each character, you can show a lot of different stuff. The thievery, the stealth, that he can portray, I think would be really, 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 really cool. So number 4, I have Mr. Fantastic. So this brings a whole new element. If you bring Mr. Fantastic in, obviously you're bringing a majority of Fantastic Four, if not all of them, who are on my list. But you also bring in a different level of science, a different level of intelligence, and it opens up where you're going story-wise, right, or narrative-driven. You're changing everything, and it's the same like Hank Pym is announced, so it now changes what is possible in the world. Same type of thing happens with Mr. Fantastic. I think, I have to refer back to Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Mr. Fantastic is not really a popular character, but the way he plays on Marvel Ultimate Alliance is absolute beast. And I think, I think he has a lot of potential. His powers are very close to Camilla Khan's, but it is possible to show separation between the two and uniqueness between the two. Number 5, I have Human Torch. Human Torch, once again, if I'm talking about Fantastic Four, he's probably the most popular Fantastic Four. Super witty, would bring a whole lot of witty comments. Seeing him and Tony's banter would be incredible. And bringing the Fantastic Four and bringing the X-Men to this game would almost capitalize on a market that we are fiending for in the first place. We're dying to have these people in the MCU interact and help out and see people's powers work together. And I think if you really want to get ahead of the curve, especially because this seems pretty based, the way the characters are acting and even the look of the characters, it seems pretty based on the MCU. So if you wanted to almost grab some of that market before somebody else does and be the first to do it, obviously rights permitting, you want to implement these things and show these kind of conversations before the MCU gets a hold of it and goes crazy. Number 6, I have The Thing. The reason I have The Thing on here is really simply because the Hulk's on here. If you're in a duo situation, a co-op situation with your homeboy or your homegirl, it would be absolutely crazy to see The Thing and the Hulk just absolutely wreck everything. It's the only reason The Thing's on here, but I think that would be super cool. So then, number 7, I have Ghost Rider. Norman Reedus, hear me out now. Norman Reedus just did Death Stranding. Norman Reedus is the guy I want for Ghost Rider after Walking Dead. I think he would be a perfect Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage was horrible. It's my opinion only, but Nicolas Cage was horrible and super awkward. You put Norman Reedus in that role, I think it's a perfect casting. And here's your perfect chance to try to get him when he's on his game trip. So I think Ghost Rider would be really cool. I'm not really sure how he would fit with the dynamics of the world, but you know, that's a pipe dream, and I think that would be amazing. So number 8, this I think is key. I mentioned Miles in the last one, and I mentioned Miles for a reason. Because Insomniac, if I'm correct, has the rights to Spider-Man. Period. Peter Parker for sure. I know Miles was in that game, but Peter Parker for sure. So you would almost have to do some kind of crossover. Now, if you do the PS4 crossover, Peter from that game and cross him over into this, you start to create your own universe. Now, when you're creating your own universe, that opens up the possibilities of so much. So then when I start talking about X-Men characters, you can do an X-Men game and have them cross over. Fantastic Four game, have them cross over. You could do a Marvel Knights with Punisher, Blade, and Ghost Rider, and Moon Knight, and then have them cross over. Defenders with Daredevil and Luke Cage, and have them cross over. So now you kind of do something we've never seen in the gaming industry, and that's create little pockets of universes and then mesh them together, right? I know that sounds kind of ambitious, but understand this didn't happen until what, 11 years ago, when somebody decided we're going to do Iron Man when Iron Man really wasn't that popular. We're going to make a movie on Iron Man, and then we're going to do Hulk right after that, and we're going to have Iron Man show up at the end of Hulk in the end credit scenes. These things were unheard of, and they seem normal now. So I think it would be incredible, because not only would this change the landscape of obviously these particular games, but I think it would change the landscape of the gaming industry in general. There's so many theories about certain games being connected to other games, and I think it's like Wolfenstein is connected to Doom and they're related and stuff like that, right? But you never see that actual crossover happen. This would be the bridge for that. And I think that would be really, really cool. So yeah, I hope that happens. But once again, these are wishful thoughts. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this video. I got some more content. We'll definitely be covering this on my channel. And that's all I got. Peace.